Welcome to the Saturday Sports Line. Since 1969, the premier sports show about local high school sports, featuring coaches, players, and special guests. Now, here is your host of the Saturday Sports Line, Kankakee Valley Broadcasting's WKVI Sports Director, Mitch Columbi, and sports analyst, Chris McGowan.
That will be the end of the ball game. 72-24 is the final here from Knox. The Knox Redskins beat Culver Academies in a big-time win, avenging last year's loss in Culver.
Once again, be safe going home tonight.
What a way to do it.
The way we used to be.
Good morning here on the Saturday Sports Line, the longest-running high school sports show in Indiana, thanks to our very own Harold Welter. It is 9 a.m. Eastern, 8 a.m. Central, wherever you are. This is your wake-up call. I'm Mitch Columbi. The tradition continues as I'm accompanied by our sports analyst, Chris McGowan. Good morning, Chris.
Good morning, sir.
How are you?
Oh, I'm doing good. Got my belly full of breakfast. I'm good.
It was a long game last night.
Oh,
a long first quarter.
Yeah.
It's a long first
Might
quarter.
be the longest first quarter I've ever been a part of.
That was
50 minutes.
Very long first quarter. I was worried the computers weren't going to last.
I was worried about the battery on the old phone and the microphone and that. I'm like, okay.
It lasted.
Yeah.
It lasted. I was proud of our technology last night. But anyway, the Knox Redskins, you heard the final, 72-24 over Culver Academy's big win. The story of the night, Miles McLaughlin, 439 yards on the ground. He surpasses his single game rushing record from last week of 428. That's the new record for Knox Redskin football. He had 9 rushing touchdowns. That's also the new single game record. He surpassed 6, which was by Vince Jacobs. So,
who was in that article we talked about last week with Coach Radtke?
So that's very interesting. The history just keeps repeat. I mean, just unbelievable.
And he had one touchdown. He had a touchdown pass as well.
And he had 9 rushing touchdowns last night, 1 passing touchdown. He is now eclipsed 8,000. He's over 8,000 yards in his career. He surpassed Markel Jones, a 2014 grad from Columbus East last night. Markel ended his career with 7,930. So Miles McLaughlin is sitting at 3rd on the all-time rushing list in Indiana high school football history. He is now chasing Sammy Meyerless of Elwood, graduate of 2013. That is 8,110 yards. So Miles could very easily do that this next week.
Yeah, he's 60 yards short. So yeah, why not? You're averaging over 300 yards a game. I don't think I've ever seen anybody in high school. I don't even know if anybody like Bo Hunt or the Taylor kid, Zachary Taylor from Sheridan, over 1,000 yards in 3 games. I don't know if it's ever been done.
It's really incredible what Miles is doing. It's kind of keeping us speechless because we don't really know what to say. We're trying to make it as good as possible for you guys. It's just incredible what he's been able to do. But as we're looking at it, when he surpasses Sammy Meyerless, he will then be chasing the number 1 all-time leading rusher from New Palestine. It is Charlie Spiegel. He is at 10,867 career rushing yards. So Miles has got some work to do if that's what he's chasing. But hey, he's putting in the work. And like you said, Chris, the fastest you've ever seen 1,000 yards in a season happen just in the first 3 games. So congratulations to the Knox Redskins. We want to bring up that our Ashley Derrickson 5-star players of the game last night was the Knox Redskin offensive line.
Yeah, we gave it to what like I said, it's a term of endearment. So any parents out there who think that I'm being bad here, I'm not. I used to call them, the offensive linemen, the big nasties, because they have to be nasty to play that position. And those guys up front, from tight end to tight end, just got the job done last night. Because CMA brought some size. The Lawson kid was 6'5", 320 pounds,
big.
Can move, junior. I tell you what, man, he's got a lot of growing to do.
He got him on one play.
I saw, he took his helmet off, and I'm looking at him, and I'm thinking to myself, oh my God, this kid's still got some growing to do. He was so baby faced. I'm just like, holy cow. So, the Knox was getting it done up front last night for sure, and and like I said, after the game, Miles would be the first one to say, that hey, it starts up there.
Yeah.
And so those guys needed some love, and they got that last night.
Also, we'll talk about the defense. I mean, they're stepping up in ways that they're just helping their offense. So really a total team effort last night for the Knox Redskins. Like we said, 72-24 last night was the final. Winamac had a tough loss at home last night against rival Pioneer, 50-0. We'll talk with head coach Josh Burgess at the bottom of this hour. It'll be interesting to see what happened there. We heard from Justin Ruff last night in his reports. He was seeming very somber on the air last night. He was very somber last night.
Yeah, he was.
Which I understand.
It's a big rivalry. And, let's be honest. Winamac's his team. That's where he went to school and all that, and he's coached there. So I think he wasn't expecting a 50-point blowout.
The Culver Cavaliers hosted Triton last night. You heard it on our other station, KVB's Max 98.3 with Rusty Nixon and Joe McKee. Triton beat the Cavs 48-8 last night. That's 2 wins in a row for the Triton Trojans. They beat Bremen at home last week. It'd been a while since they'd done that. Now they beat another cross-county foe in the Culver Cavaliers. We'll talk with head coach Austin Foust in the second hour. Your thoughts on that matchup?
Seems like Triton might be figuring things out offensively. They were shut out, in week 1 against LaVille. Now LaVille's a very stout defensive team, but put 1,400 points against Bremen in last night. Scored 48. So the offense is trending in the right direction. Another
big score: the West Central Trojans on the road at Tri-County, 76-0. Chris.
Yeah,
huge.
I told you it was going to be a running clock by third quarter.
The Trojans are 3-0 right now, looking strong. Congratulations to Marc Hall and company. We'll talk to him in this hour as well. But now we transition to the North Judson-San Blue Jays. They hosted South Central last night, another one of our area teams. 60-6 was the final. We have head coach Brett Lambert in the house. Coach, good morning. Another big win for you guys.
Yeah, it was a nice victory for us. I got to play a lot of kids last night, so it's nice when you can be fortunate enough to be in that situation. So yeah, it was a good win for us in week 3.
Well, what stuck out to you? I mean, it must have started off pretty hot.
Yeah, it was. I mean, it ended up it was 53-6 at halftime. I looked over, just even in pregame, and they, had probably 7 guys. South Central had about 7 guys in street clothes, and one of them was number 4, who I thought was a pretty good player on film. So I kind of thought, oh man, especially when I saw 4 standing there, this could be a long night for them, just to be honest. And it was. But our guys performed, very well on really both sides of the ball. We had over 500 yards of offense. We completed 3 out of 4 passes in the first half there with Asen for about 100 yards, and had a couple touchdowns to Xander Nowak. Xander, and I've said this all year, and you guys saw it week 1 against Knox, even though it wasn't a good game for us, but Xander stood out in that game, and he continues to do that. I mean, he's a 6'4", athletic, strong, basketball player who really, I don't know. I mean, I know he loves basketball, but I think he might like football more, maybe. I hope so, at least. I know Caden Shepard might not want to hear that, but he just does an awesome job. He's a big target for us. So I think that really adds another dimension to our offense. So I'm trying to get myself to, put that ball in the air a little bit more, and we did. So I was very, happy with that. And I think, we ran 33 plays, didn't punt the ball. We haven't punted since the Knox game. So I know our offense is doing well. The problem last week against LaVille is we just, got down to the red zone and couldn't finish. And we really emphasized some things in practice this week, and we'll continue to do so. But with our blocking, just not just from the line, but from our backs. And I thought, it's hard to tell in a game like this how it improved, but we're gonna really find out against North Miami this coming Friday, how much better our blocking is, and hopefully we're pleasantly surprised by that. But no, it was just a good win for us. I think we got 11 guys who carried the ball. I don't think we had one guy over 100 yards rushing, because we just we're giving the rock to a lot of different guys, and we took advantage of it. We saw that we were pretty deep in the backfield, which we already knew, but that was nice to see. It was nice to see Logan Pratke back on the field. This was his first game of the year, and he looked good. And we got him through the game, got him some touches. He had a couple touchdowns. He's a dynamic football player. I think he's in that same mold as like a Cheyenne Allen type, the way he kind of runs the ball. And he's a guy who I think as we move through the year, he's going to be a receiving threat for us too. He's a guy who's very athletic, a basketball guy, strong. He's probably 200 pounds. So again, I just seeing him back on the field and then getting through the game without tweaking anything was nice because we're going to need him as we move through the rest of the schedule. It was just overall I thought things went very well. The only score that they got, we tried throwing a little slant out combination, and their safety, we went back to the film, their safety just immediately jumped it, which is kind of surprising because, we run the ball so much, and he jumped the route, and Asen probably could have led the receiver a little bit more on the out, but, give South Central credit. They made a nice play on that and gave up the score. So, like these last 2 weeks, I think Coach Danny McGowan might be getting a little upset with me because our defense didn't really give up a score this week because it was the offense. And then last week, we had that field goal blocked and ran back for a touchdown, which made things more interesting than I wanted it to be. So the defense has really done a good job since that first half of the Knox game. And as we all see, Knox is making, a lot of defenses look stupid at this point. But again, I think our defense is locked in like I thought they would be, but they're going to have to be as we move forward. But I really think our offense is going to progress, and I like some of the things I saw last night.
So did you have Radtke on a pitch count last night? Did he play one side of the ball more than the other? Because I know he plays outside linebacker too, right?
Well, he plays safety.
Safety.
He didn't play any defense last night, and Radtke's a very good defensive player. I mean, he started for us last year, and he will be playing defense. I mean, that's going to happen. But we're just trying to get him out there, and we want to get him healthy and keep him healthy. So he got some carries on offense and did what I thought he could do, and we got him out, like I said, healthy, but we're going to need him this week against North Miami. But, yeah, he's a dynamic kid. Hopefully we can get that, ankle to the spot where, he can maybe start kicking again because he's really our best kicker. So if we can get him, out there kicking. And, I mean, it's kind of weird. We didn't even go for a 2-point conversion last night, which we kicked every time. And some were good. Some weren't the most pretty, but, we got to keep working on that.
As long as they go above the one bar and in between the other two.
Well, that's what we're trying. And we're trying that. And there were some of them did do that. So
it's the end result that counts.
That's exactly right. But yeah, just we got some youth in the team mixed in with some good seniors, and I feel like the progress we've already made since week one is awesome. And it's just kind of an exciting thing as a coach because, and I've said this probably before, but, last year we just took off running out of the gates against Knox week one, and we didn't let up. And this team, I just think as, fans, I think the fans are going to see this, the progress we make over the course of the year, I think is going to be awesome. And what it all really comes down to is, what you do in the playoffs, and that's where we want to, be at our best.
Well, it takes time to gel. Granted, these kids have played a lot, and they played, a lot of mop-up minutes last year, but it takes, now they're out there together for a full 48 minutes. It takes a little bit of time to build that trust and to gel together as a unit.
Yeah, and with a new quarterback, and as we go back traditionally, the first. When you're a first-year quarterback in our offense, it takes time, and it takes a lot of reps because, Trey Hampton started year one for us. He was better in year two, and same with Aldrich and same with Josiah. So, if we can but by the end of their first year as quarterback, it was a lot better than the first game.
Right.
And then the second year, it seems like they're just ready to go, right from the start. So the progress that Asen will make will be awesome, I'm sure. And again, I just, having our guys, getting our offensive line to, gel together because some of those guys are getting in different spots. I think that's a fun thing. And I know Coach Harper does a really good job working with them. Now I really feel like we have, and I'm starting to get the the confidence to do it, throw that ball a little bit. So as Coach Wright, continues to work with those guys, the receivers, that's going to be, I think, a weapon that, hopefully other teams don't want to concentrate on because they know we do have a good running game. And we do traditionally do that, but hopefully they don't, think about our passing game because we'll do it if we have to. I put on my call sheet last night, and the coaches thought I was joking until I showed it to them. I've never done this before. I put on the call sheet, throw the rock. So they thought I was joking until I showed them. And then, obviously we didn't get a lot of plays on offense, and, everything was kind of working for us. But, I did put the ball in there a few times, and, one time it didn't work out well, but, we had a couple touchdown passes, and it looked good. Brody Bridegroom had a nice catch, a 50-yard reception. So there's some things we can do in the passing game that could be nice. Like I said, Pracky can add to that. I think Aiden McGowan's a good receiver. Javen Christensen would be a really good receiver. The Cager kid, Alex Cager, he's got some speed, so he's a guy who can definitely, if he catches the ball, be gone. So again, we got some weapons there.
All right, so next week you travel to North Miami. The nice thing about that is the fact that they run an offense that looks pretty familiar to you in North Judson. So going to be kind of preparing for yourself, it seems like, next week.
Yeah, so we got to be disciplined on defense. They do have an offense similar to ours. If you guys paid attention from last year, they were. I think they were 10-3 last year.
Yes.
They went to 11-2, 10-3. What were they? But regardless, they had a really good team last year. They got most of those guys back. They played in a regional.
10-3.
Yeah, 10-3. So they played in a regional against South Adams. They have a quarterback. I think it's a 4-year starter. He's about 220-something pounds and a state wrestler. They're gonna try to run the ball right down our throat, which I appreciate that because we like to do the same thing. So we got to be assignment sound. We got to be physical. We got to be tough. We got to be more physical than we were in that first game against Knox when they tried to take it as because they did. But I know we've already just already made progress since that game. But yeah, they got some definite weapons there, and I'm sure they've had us marked on their schedule on the old calendar, waiting for this game. It's going to be my first trip to North Miami. I normally don't sleep on the bus, but that might give me some time to close my eyes for a little bit.
It's a drive.
Yeah, and I know they got Bud Wright as an assistant coach over there, so the only guy with more wins than Russ Radtke is trying to help out them. So yeah, this is going to be a fun game. I'm looking forward to it. This is a good benchmark for our team to see where we're at, and if we want to win conference, we got to get this one.
Yeah, conference the rest of the way. North Miami. It's interesting the way the schedule's set up. You start the season on the road, then you get 2 games at home. Then you hit the road this Friday, then you come back for 2 games at home against Culver and Triton. Then you hit the road twice, and then you finish off the season at Pioneer at home. So, not a bad way to go back and forth there. It's not like you're on the road for 3 and 4 games in a row.
Yeah, I like how the schedule's set up right now, and like I've talked about many times before, starting out with Knox and LaVille is a great thing for us because we got tested right off the bat. Knox is obviously going to be, having a great year. They probably, I look at Knox's schedule. I'm not trying to jinx them, but Tippy Valley is going to be good.
Right,
I think
that'd be a good test.
Tippy Valley is going to show us a lot about Knox, but Knox is going to have a fantastic year. But for us to start with them, it definitely showed we had some youth in that game, but I just think that was a good wake-up call for us. And then LaVille, the way they play defense is a tough game, and we were able to get through that one. So now we're in the conference schedule, and there's some tough teams in our conference. North Miami being one of them. I think Pioneer is going to have a fantastic year. So we're going to have some challenges amongst other teams too. I'm not trying to leave out the other teams. So yeah, this is going to be a good one for us. Then we get to playoffs. I know we're a long ways from there, but guys, we're already a third of the way through. We're already a third of the way through the season.
Yeah, week 4 already.
So us coaches are always thinking about the playoffs. We are. We don't really talk about, we want to win conference, but that's not something that gets mentioned a whole lot. It's really, you get those trophies in November. That's what really means a lot. And we're trying to put ourselves in the best position in all phases of the game. So when that time comes, we're ready to, win trophies.
Interesting stat here that was shared with me. Shout out to Brad Schilling. You brought up Knox. Both you and Knox scored over. Well, you scored 60 points last night. Knox scored over 60 points last night. It's not the first time that both Stark County football teams have scored 60 or more points on the same night, and it wasn't that long ago, October 18th, 2024. So Stark County football, coach, is something's going on over here, guys. I don't know if it's in the water. Maybe I need to start drinking it because something's going on over here.
Oh, you live in Marshall County. Forget it.
Well, I think it makes you to go with that Stark County
They
football.
have it home for me.
It makes you raise your level of competition. We know what they're doing. They know what we're doing. It's not like we compete in week one, but I think we don't want to be shown up by them, and they've felt the same way. I'm sure they felt that way last year. It just raises the bar. And I see the same thing. I think of like Adams Central and South Adams.
Right.
That same type of thing. Both of those teams have been at the state championship level. I think it gets contagious in a good way. And it's just we're and again, I'm not thinking to myself, oh, what Knox do tonight? We got to make sure that doesn't really cross your mind. But you are aware of what's going on, and it's a positive thing, and it's a fun thing, and hopefully it's a fun thing. Yeah, it's a fun thing for the fans. I hope. And again,
the community.
And I really think, Russ was onto something. Maybe this should be a game 1 and game 9 thing, and we should
home and away.
Home and away.
I think that'd be awesome.
That could be a lot of fun. I don't know if that could quite work or not, but
I don't know if I'd want to do it. Well, I don't know if I'd want to do it week 9 though, because it's a physical game.
Well,
you come out of that beat up for week 10.
Well, and I just. Talking to the coach's office last night, it's like, well, we got Pioneer week 9. That's going to be a heck of a football game. Exactly. It's like, gosh, I kind of hope you get somebody a little bit easier in that draw in game 1. I think my comment might have been, not looking too far ahead here, but you got week 9 Pioneer. I hope we don't get LaVille week 1. And of course, as soon as I said that, when the coach said, well, we know we're going to get week 1 right now.
We're getting LaVille.
Absolutely.
So, how is the health of the ball club? Last question.
Well, I guess to give the update, let the cat out of the bag. So CJ tore his ACL. So CJ is done for the year. We found that out on Tuesday. That was kind of a gut shot. I mean, you're sitting there at your desk, and when he hurt his knee against Wheeler in the scrimmage, I immediately thought he tore his ACL. But then as the next couple weeks went, and he hadn't had his MRI yet, the way he was moving around and stuff, and even he thought, okay, it's meniscus or something. It's not, or if even that, but just a gut shot. Here we are, a 1A program to have a Division I football player. He's going to Ball State. To lose him, it's kind of like, and I'm not trying to jinx this, but think about Knox. They don't have Miles out there. Right. how that changes things, but. To give our guys credit, they were real positive. They they took the news, I think, hard on Tuesday, but you could just see it, as they get through the week. Hey, we're a good football team. Maybe we don't have that X factor going into these games now that CJ was, but we still got to do our thing, and we got the talent to do it. So again, I feel awful for him. He's got surgery scheduled at the end of this month. He's been in contact with Ball State. Ball State seems to be good. When he committed, they even said, hey, if there's an injury, we're sticking by you. Well, he put that to the test right away. So he hurt his other knee. Because it wasn't even the knee he hurt before. He hurt his other knee, would have been end of February, his freshman year in basketball, and he ended up playing in it was either week 6 or 7 against Triton that next fall. So he was really back in 7 months. So now he has time to get himself back, so he can be ready to go for summer stuff with Ball State. I know how he works and rehabs. He'll be doing that immediately. We'll help him out any way that we possibly can to make sure that rehab goes the way it's supposed to. I feel for the kid, but I guess for him the lucky thing is he does have something beyond this season, while some other kids that are seniors, when they hurt their legs, they're done. And I guess it's a benefit for our team in a way, because this didn't happen week 9, and we're like, oh crap, what are we going to do? So we're able to move some guys around and do some stuff. But it's an awful thing. Great kid, worked his butt off to get where he's at, and for him to have that injury. So I guess other than that injury, we are healthy right now. So we're back in good health, but that's one that's going to be on the injury report all year. So it's just sad thing, but us coaches, we get paid money to make sure we get, the next guy up and ready to go. That's, that's part of the business we have, but you still feel sympathy for him. But I know he doesn't want that, though. He just wants the team to do well. And on the last thing I'll say about it, I cracked a little joke because he was filling water bottles on Tuesday after he found the news. He came to practice and he was there helping us out. He goes, our managers couldn't be there that day, they were sick. He goes, Coach, can I be a manager today and just help out? Absolutely, CJ. So then I went up to him at the end of practice, and Riker Scheidler was out that practice too, and I said, these are, I don't know, I'm not going to give you the exact word, but this is the two strongest stinking managers in the whole state. So but again, that's our injury news. But we'll be fine.
I'm sorry.
He will too. No, it's part of the game, unfortunately. And again, he's a guy. Wish we had him, but we don't, and we'll move forward. And we still plan on winning a lot of football games.
Well, good luck this coming week in preparation for North Miami.
Hey, thank you. I appreciate it.
All right. What, you got something else?
I was just going to ask what time to start for that game.
6:30
It's
Central.
It's a 6:30 Central, so it's going to be. I don't know how that bus is going to. We might have to, wear our pants there on the bus. I don't know what the deal is. They're not going to be a whole lot of time. I might have to talk to Mr. Sarkozy and
you can leave early.
Transportation department. I'm not sure. I saw that 3:30 departure time, and I started going through the math in my head. And a bus is probably about an hour 20. He'd like to walk the field before. It's kind of a thing. Well, that leaves us about 25 minutes to go to the bathroom and get dressed. So I don't know. We'll see. But 6:30. It's a 6:30 start time, and I guess military guys, they get dropped out of helicopters in the war zones, and they go across.
That'd be kind of cool.
Well, I don't know if we're going to do that, but my point is, though, they need to be ready to go right away. So gosh darn it,
choppered in. Yeah,
we'll be ready for the game, no doubt about it.
Coach, we'll talk soon.
Hey, thank you.
All right, that is head coach of the North Judson-San Blue Jays, Brett Lambert, here on the Saturday Sports Line. Big win over South Central, 60-6. The Jays are 2-1. Taking a break, coming back. Russ Radtke of Knox Community High School is up next.
McLaughlin from the gun. Takes the snap, up the left side. Crosses over to the 45, still on his feet to the 50, the 45 to the 40, to the 35 to the 30, to the 25 to the 20, 15, 10, 5, touchdown Redskins! First play of the game, Miles McLaughlin! Kick away, caught at the 20. Fakes the double handoff. He's going to keep it himself up the right side. Cross the 30, the 35 to the 40, the 45 to the 50, 45 to the 40, 35 to the 30, 25 to the 20. They're going to take it all the way to the house. 10, 5, touchdown Eagles! They respond on the next play!
Pulaski Memorial Hospital. Quality care closer to home. Pulaski Memorial Hospital is all about community and keeping our community spotlight shining on the accomplishments of our youth. That's why PMH is proud to be a sponsor of our local high school sports action on WKVI, our community radio station. Pulaski Memorial Hospital. Quality care closer to home.
Stay tuned for more sports talk with Mitch Columbi and Chris McGowan on the longest-running high school sports show in Indiana, the Saturday Sports Line.
At First Farmers Bank and Trust, agriculture has been a cornerstone of our business for more than 135 years. Our personal relationships within the ag community run deep for multiple generations. If you're looking for a financial partner that knows, understands, and supports agriculture, I'd love to hear from you. I'm Isaac Blue, Ag Banker at First Farmers. Come into our Knox, North Judson, or Culver branches, or visit us online at ffbt.com when you're ready to talk about growing your operation. First Farmers Bank and Trust, member FDIC, equal opportunity lender.
Frayne Mortuary in Winamac is family-owned and operated with 3 locations serving Pulaski County and the surrounding communities. Frayne Mortuary has provided our community with caring and compassionate service for loved ones. Our licensed staff is available to assist you with pre-need funeral planning and at-need funeral planning. We provide traditional burial and cremation services. We offer a full line of headstones and monuments at Frayne Mortuary in Winamac. It's our family serving your family.
You're listening to Mitch Columbi and Chris McGowan on Kankakee Valley Broadcasting's WKVI.
He'll take the snap, fakes the handoff to Camden Garner, keeps it himself to the near side of the field, to the 45, to the 50, still on his feet, to the 45, to the 40. Oh my! Trucked over a couple Eagles, to the 15, to the 10, 5, touchdown Redskins! Miles McLaughlin can't be stopped!
Back from the Pulaski Memorial Hospital studios, this is the Saturday Sports Line. We're going to hear a lot of Miles McLaughlin this morning. He had 9 rushing touchdowns, 1 passing touchdown as well last night. So it's the Miles McLaughlin Show this morning. It's time to talk Knox Redskin football with head coach Russ Radtke. Coach, a big win last night, 72-24 over Culver Academies.
Well, it was an exciting night for the scoreboard operators.
Make sure all those lights worked.
All those bulbs were working, and the score was up efficiently. So I think last year the score was 32-34 or something like that at halftime. So just the two teams come out physically and really do some things exciting. Gave up a touchdown on a kickoff return. That was something that we had to make adjustments for, and we didn't kick to our coverage, and that's why we switched. And McLaughlin kicked off the rest of the game and did a very good job for us, putting the ball deep rather than giving him that opportunity. I think they faked the reverse on the first one, and they didn't give it to him, and we all went for the reverse, and here he comes down our sideline. So it's good to have football work the way it does. I know Coach here tried to talk to me in halftime, but I only had 15 minutes. I had to get in there on that defense, and
let's talk about that. I mean, and that's okay.
You might have to come in next time at halftime and catch me while I'm doing it.
We're not on tape. We're not on tape delay. Sorry.
Oh, okay. All right.
I'll save you one.
As long as you pay the fine.
But no, let's talk about that, because the score at halftime was 44-24. So you go in, you make the adjustments. What were those adjustments at halftime, and what was the biggest area you thought? Because I saw a lot of cover 2 last night in their 2x2 formation. But what adjustments did you make at halftime? Because you guys come out and you put up a goose egg defensively.
Well, I think the difference was that the quarterback was able to sit in that pocket a little bit too long. In
the first half, yes.
Yeah. And we put a little bit more pressure, bringing some blitzes and linebackers. And then we changed up the coverage a little bit to some man-to-man on their slots. And it definitely created some great hits. I mean, there was some big hits in there by Ashton Walker and Maddox Kinder when they ran to the quick flats and threw the ball. When the guy turned around, wow, there was a heck of a smack there. So a little bit more man on different coverages and sitting in the zone and waiting, because they were running people through from one side to the other. So, that's good for them. That's a good part of their offense. But when we took it away and did the right things, complete shutout second half.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
So all in all, Coach, the first quarter, I mean, it was just scoring at will. Even both teams. I mean, really, that first quarter, there was how many touchdowns? I can't remember off the top of my head.
6.
6 total touchdowns between both teams in the first quarter.
There was 3 in the first minute, 24.
Yeah,
the game.
When things are happening that quickly, Coach, and you're smiling, but when things are happening that quickly, what are you in the coaching? I mean, how are you able to? I mean, obviously you're able to keep up, but I mean, in those moments, we're up in the booth, and it's just like, how do you keep up with this? It's just happening at such a high pace, such a fast rate.
Well, both teams are that type of explosive. They're after the touchdown rather than the 3 or 4 yards of shot, and as a result of that, it causes situations where sometimes you got to sit back in the zone and let them move a little bit here, there, and then pull rubber band and smack them right away. And I think that's what our guys were, just a little too much of going after them rather than sitting and waiting. But hey, again, you put 9 touchdowns and a field goal in the first half. Those are things that create a long. What did you say? The first quarter took 50 minutes?
50 minutes.
In real time.
In real time.
He timed it.
Yeah. So, Is that what I like?
He didn't either.
Well, it past my bedtime at the end of the first quarter. I said, Mitch, I got to go home.
And maybe that's where you thought you were going when you tried to talk to me. And I said, I got to get in there right away.
Well, I can tell. I can tell that you weren't in the mood, but I'm going to offer him the chance, and you just kind of like waved me off.
Well,
okay.
But the words of correction were going to get done in there rather than
outside.
I know you're going to ask me, well, what are we going to do to solve this? I should have just said, well, come along with me and I'll show you right now.
Well, and then at the end of the first quarter, it was so long. I said, well, and he'll kneel it here. And Chris goes, they're not going to kneel it. It's the end of the first quarter.
Yeah.
And I go, I thought it was the end of the first half.
Well, the crowd, everybody's excited. There's a lot of scoring of that going on. But as you're saying, with coaches and players, adjustments can get done. And that's what I got to give to our defense and our secondary and the ability of our linebackers. Kane Weber led us in defensive tackles. Brian Korcha came in second. And then Isaac Singleton came in third with Maddox Kinder. So you've got two defensive backs, a Mike linebacker, and an outside linebacker that led us in the top four. So overall, those are, and I think all four of those are seniors that can listen and adjust and have come a long ways from where we were at last year.
I think, if there's one area, obviously you corrected the kickoff coverage in the game, and that paid dividends. But if there's one area from last night, red zone defense. CMA was 3 for 3 in the red zone last night. I think you'd probably like to at least get a stop or two in the red zone.
But I think that comes down to that, too. You try too much pressure. That quarterback, he was pretty good. He's a senior, and he had quick feet, and we're right there with a sack, and he takes one step, boom, gone.
Right.
And, that's a senior that has a great opportunity to make that tackle. Seemed frustrated to him, but you got to break down. You can't just think that it's a run-through, automatic, take them all the time. And he was able to do that, as well as getting the ball where he had to in the situations that took place. So 3 for 3 in the red zone. You just keep him out of the red zone, I guess.
Right.
But there's times that and then another one came on a fourth down pass interference that got called down by the goal line. But we're aggressive. We're going after the ball. And you look during the game, it didn't look like it, but when you watch the video, it's pass interference. There's no doubt. So,
and on the flip side of that, you guys were 5 for 5 in the red zone.
Okay, so we need to get in the red zone more often.
There you go. Simple game, isn't it? It's kind of like basketball. The little ones get it to the big ones, and the big ones put it in the basket. It's a simple game. We want to get
sometimes the philosophy will get the ball out and go the other way as fast as you can. And in basketball, like you're saying, exactly right. There's times where I still think it comes down to that same thing. There's nothing wrong with bending, and giving, and then all of a sudden, smack.
Right.
You got to be able to do that right back at him like a pulled rubber band. And, 16 for 37, and we really never had a chance at an interception that was that we could have gotten. We did bat the ball down, and the quarterback even caught it and ran the ball.
Yep.
So these are all good things. It's a good football game. Excitement on the offense. Our offensive coaches are doing a great job in there of making sure that we're consistently doing the correct blocks and getting the assignments done at the right time. We had 551 yards total offense last night, 3 for 5 in passing also. Once they get 12 men up on the line of scrimmage, we have to maybe I'm counting the referee.
Yeah, I got you.
Yeah, he gets up in there too. Okay. But those things are all a part of the game. And, one of the greatest catches we've had this year was done by Keegan Everidge that came out of the backfield, caught that ball up over his shoulder.
That was a beautiful pass, beautiful catch.
A great pass right in there above that. And and he's really a defensive player that comes over to help us in certain situations. But he has a great intelligence for the game that he can get to the ball and find a play to catch. It was over the shoulder.
Yeah.
I mean, he didn't have much time to look for it, but it came in right at the right spot and put us down there at about the 5-10 yard line.
A lot of records were broken last night. Miles McLaughlin, 439 yards on the ground. That is the new single-game rushing record for Knox football history. Also 9 rushing touchdowns, the new single-game record. He surpassed Vince Jacobs, who had 6. And then I also was told by Neil Minix, I don't know if it's been confirmed or not, but according to athletic director Neil Minix, it may have been the most points scored ever in a game for the Knox Redskins. So I'll try to get that confirmed as well. But, I mean, you think about everything that happened last night, and then Miles surpasses over 8,000 career rushing yards. He's now 3rd all-time. He surpassed Markel Jones, a Columbus East grad. He had 7,930 yards. So, I mean, it's the work that you guys have been putting in over the years. It's starting to show, it feels like.
Well, it definitely, this is our 6th year, and it's all coming together in a great mannerism. All our teams are undefeated. 6th grade, 7th grade, 8th grade, JV, the whole shot. Got a game today over at CMA, but it definitely is it's carrying over. And we say it over and over again, and anybody can. They'll tell you on TV, say, if you don't have anybody blocking, you can be the greatest running back in the world, and you're not going to get anything done. And that's why you have to have offensive linemen that do their jobs and are very proud of how well they're able to execute, call. They run defenses last night that we hadn't seen before, schemes that they're coming up with. Opponents are always doing something, and it's got to be an adjustment by a total group. You can't just let the quarterback and a running back kind of come up with the ideas back there. But when those opportunities come for Weber to carry the ball and Camden Gardner and Jalen Fisher, I don't know how our computer messes this up, but boy, I wish I did have Jaden Strong back.
From a few years ago. Yeah.
Well, somehow he getting in there. Maybe we got the ghost coming back. But that's Isaac Singleton, number 3 out there.
Yeah.
And he carried a couple last night, got on the outside. It's all camaraderie of a group of young boys that are growing up as men. And if they can keep this process going, it's going to be an exciting way out. I think Miles has also reached 1,000 yards already in just 3 games. So, and the record you talk about, he broke, I think he said it last week.
Yeah, 428, and then he beat his own record.
Yeah, but again, these are all things that are good and advantageous, but he plays defense too, and he has to do the kickoffs, and he's got to. He was in a blocking scheme last night where he was the outside wing that got around the outside to give Singleton that opportunity to run the ball. So he's not. He's very self-conscious, but all those players themselves work so hard. You were out of practice. You know how it goes. There's no simple thing on Thursday night. I mean, it's live, full go, and we're going at it. And until they get it right, they don't get to go home. So you asked me last week, what time can I get to practice? And I said, we'll be here till midnight maybe. So
you got out early.
Yeah, we got out a little earlier. But the point is across how much fun they're having. And if we can do all those things and keep working that way, what you're seeing out there is something good.
3 road games in a row. We'll see one of them on the 19th at John Glenn, but your next one is at Tippy Valley. Short and sweet, what do you know about them?
Well, we tried to work last night and then heavy over the weekend to prepare. But, they're 2-1 right now. And they play a tremendous defense that is strong and can come right at you. They've been in, they won 20-3 over Plymouth, 7-2 over Rochester, and they got beat last night by a team that throws the ball a lot. So overall, though, they've got a great atmosphere over there. This will be their first home game. They've been on the road for 3 straight. So this is their first home game. It's a great atmosphere over there. That's why we're glad we're in this conference. Competitiveness and so forth is important, and we're getting starting into the conference run right now.
Well, as always, Coach, I appreciate your time. Congratulations on the big win and breaking several records last night here in Knox for homecoming, and we'll talk soon.
Okay, I appreciate it. And like I said, those parents have got to be pretty proud of their young men, of how hard they work and the time that's out there. Sometimes, they're out at 45 minutes early, but the next day they might be 15, 20 minutes late. So I appreciate the parents, community, and everybody working with what we got to get done. Until we go home, we're going to do it right.
See you soon.
Okay.
That is head coach of the Knox Redskins, Russ Radtke, here on the Saturday Sports Line. Big win last night, 72-24 over Culver Academies. They are 3-0. The Redskins are undefeated. Redskin Nation, you better head down to Tippy Valley next week. They're going to need you. Taking a break, coming back, Marc Hall of the West Central Trojans. They're 3-0 as well. He's on the other side.
From the 1, 2nd and goal, McLaughlin out of the gun, takes the snap, up the middle, and he will jump stop right into the end zone for another Knox Redskin touchdown. Doral takes the snap, rolls out of the pocket of the far sideline. Here come Redskins. He gets rid of it, got his man, still on his feet, and he's going to get the touchdown. Touchdown, Eagles. Max Pasquale.
The Stark County Co-op has been a member-owned farm services co-op in Stark County since 1928. That's over 90 years, and they're still providing the same quality agronomy services to the farming community of Stark and surrounding counties. The Stark County Co-op is an LP and fuel provider. The Stark County Co-op purchases grain at both locations, Hamlet and Brahms. You can reach them by phone at 1-800-782-3392, the Stark County Co-op.
It's hard to believe, but time sure does fly by. Collins Insurance Agency in downtown Knox are celebrating over 30 years of taking care of all of your insurance needs in our communities.
If I could turn back time.
And we're not going anywhere.
Stop in and see Jim and the crew at Collins Insurance Agency in downtown Knox.
Insurance you can count on from a business you've trusted since 1989.
Proud presidential partners of Western Reserve.
Let's continue the conversation with area high school coaches and more on the Saturday Sports Line.
From shotgun all alone, using the men up front. Takes the snap, uses his blocks up the middle, and he'll get the touchdown. Touchdown, Redskins!
We welcome you back to the Saturday Sports Line as we transition to West Central. The Trojans are 3-0 this morning. They started their conference games off last night on the road at Tri-County. 76-0 was the score. The Trojans had fun last night. Coach, I'm assuming it was a lot of fun.
Yeah, it was, and the great thing is we got all the young kids in, and got to see them run our offense for a change instead of being the scout guys during the week, and they ran our offense and ran our defense, and it looked good. They were able to do a lot of good things for us, and everyone again got to play, so it's great to see that. We executed pretty well. I mean, there's still always things we gotta fix up, but. It was a great team win, and we had people just flying around on defense the entire time. Didn't matter if they were the first guys in, the second guys in, or the third guys in. They were just flying around and having fun out there playing football. And that's one of the things we talked to them about this week is have fun out there and celebrate with your teammates when you guys do good things. And so we were able to see that last night, which was great to see.
Yeah, let's talk about some of the plays. Let's talk about some of the playmakers. I'm sure you got some stats in your mind, some guys that had, 76 points. I'm sure somebody had a big night, if not several.
Yeah, well, it was spread around to a lot of different people as far as yards were concerned. And we had quite a few short fields. We blocked a punt. We had 2 really good punt returns that set us up in good field position. We had a kickoff return for a touchdown. We had a couple times they went forward on 4th down, and we were able to get sacks on the play that put us in good field position. So we had really good field position throughout pretty much the entire game. But we were able to score 3 touchdowns in the first quarter, 4 touchdowns in the second quarter, and then had 2 in the third, and then 1 in the fourth in the second half with all the young guys playing. So I was very encouraged with that. But, stat-wise, none of them really had a lot of stats like in the weeks past, as far as like attempts or even a ton of yards, but they are all very similar stat lines. So, like Caden Gutwein had 2 carries for 60 yards last night. Felipe Bazan had 3 carries for 39 yards and a touchdown. Dre Burrell had 8 carries for 62 yards and 2 touchdowns. Connor Huber had 6 carries for 54 yards and 3 touchdowns. Tegan Holly was one of our wings we were able to get in there and get a little more experience with, and he had 1 carry for 10 yards and 1 catch for 24 yards and a touchdown. Nathan Peter, our backup quarterback, ended up with 2 carries for 15 yards and a touchdown. Then Ezra Rodriguez had a carry for 4 yards, and Rosendo Martinez, one of our freshmen, ended up with 3 carries for 63 yards. So we also had our freshman tight end caught his first pass of the year, and so a lot of guys doing some things for the first time, and we were able to show some of the depth we have and get some of those guys a little more playing time, which was great to see. Then defensively, we had, I think, close to 20 guys that had a tackle or an assisted tackle. So a lot of guys out there. And again, we dressed 29 guys last night. So when you have like 20 of those guys are on the defensive stat line for something, that's pretty good. We were led in the first half by Dre and Connor as far as tackles were concerned. But we had a lot of guys getting pressure on the quarterback last night. And not only were Dre and Connor doing it, but Rudy Maravilla, Nathan Kimberly, Landon Hughes, Caleb Kovach had some pressure on the quarterback, and so did Brady Hannon. So these guys were just flying around, and it was great to see. One of the things that we were a little concerned with during the week was how much focus we were going to have, and that's one of the things that we had to get on them about at a couple different time points. When Tri-County, we watched the film, and they just looking at scores, you know how kids are. They look at scores and they see that they had lost to Attica the week before. So trying to get everyone reined back in to understand that they're going to be ready to play football. It's a conference game. It was their first home game of the year, so making sure our kids were focused is one of the big things we worked on during the week, and we were able to come out and we looked pretty focused. And so I was happy to see that. And again, just great to see all the young kids get the opportunities they got. We started putting some of them in here and there in the second quarter, and then third and fourth quarter was all the younger kids. So it's great to see that, and to see them step up and to the occasion and play well. And they did play really well. They some of the younger linemen we got in an offense, they were making big holes for our guys to run through. So that was really nice to see. And our young backs being able to find those holes and then hit them hard and get good gains on it. So it was just great to see that. We even had one of our freshmen return a punt in the second half, and Isaac Warner, he picked that thing up, went 39 yards with it, had a great return. So that was awesome to see that, because I don't know that we've ever had him practice fielding punt and during practice. So the fact that we said, hey, go back there and deal with that, and he just went back there and did it, and then returned to 39 yards. It's great to see. So just very happy that all those guys got the opportunity last night, and hopefully we can keep building on that as the season progresses, and that will hopefully help us as far as practice is concerned, and then games down the road.
I'll ask you the same question I asked Chris McGowan last night on the air in the post-game show. Was, with a win like this, if you're in the Midwest Conference, are you now looking at the West Central Trojans like, oh, man, they planted their flag last night? And Chris said yes. He, in his opinion, he says that the Trojans last night put the MWC on notice that the Trojans mean business this year.
Well, I hope so. I mean, that's something we want. It's something we talk about all the time is winning conference. But if you look at some of the other scores there, Frontier had a pretty impressive score too. So they're going to be the team that won it last year. They're going to be the team to beat. So we got to make sure that we are rising to the occasion, and that's still down the road here. That's getting ahead of ourselves a little bit, but that's not until week 8 we got to make sure we're preparing ourselves, getting better every week.
You see Lake Station on the road. It's a non-conference matchup. Do you know anything about them at this time?
Just a little bit, and this is our last non-conference game of the year, and then here on out afterwards we conference, so that'll be nice to be in conference the entire time. But Lake Station, they play tonight, so currently they're undefeated, depending on what they do tonight in their game against, I think they play Bowman Academy tonight. But we saw their game from week 1 when they played South Newton, so we know a little bit. We had played them previously in previous years. Last year was an off year where we didn't. They have gotten better from the last time we have played them 2 seasons ago. They've got some athletic kids. They've got some bigger kids. They look like they have a few more kids on the roster than what they had previously as well. So it's definitely a game that we've got to be ready for. I'm sure they're going to be excited for it. They have a possibility that they might be undefeated. We might be undefeated going into that on Friday night. So it's definitely one that we hopefully will be able to get the kids pretty focused for, with it being a possibility of 2 undefeated teams here going at it. So just expect a hard-nosed football game that they're going to be ready to go. We're going to their home field. They should be pretty pumped about it. So hopefully our kids rise to the occasion and we're ready to go.
Well, Coach, congratulations on a big win last night. Congratulations on being undefeated at 3-0. We're third way through the season already. Can you believe it?
No. It's one of those things, like when you start practice in the beginning of August, like those first 2 weeks, it seems like it takes forever to get through, to get to that for our conference jamboree. And then once you get past that, everything just flies by then at that point. So it is kind of hard to believe that we're already a third of the way through. As far as like where we thought we could be this year, like 3-0 wasn't out of the question on things we talked about in the off season. So this is kind of where we thought we could be on the high end of things. If things went our way, we thought we could be right here. So we're very, very happy with where we're at. Very pleased with what we've done so far. But one of the things we've been talking to our kids about is the next Friday, the other team, they don't care what we did the previous Friday. So we got to keep getting better every week and keep preparing for the next opponent and keep rolling.
Well, Coach, good luck in preparation for Lake Station. I sure do appreciate your time this morning. And, hey, congratulations. You're undefeated. Keep it up, Coach.
Well, thank you. Have a good weekend.
You as well. All right, that is head coach Marc Call of the West Central Trojans, our only other area team still undefeated, 3-0. Taking on Lake Station on the road in the middle of a 3-game road stretch. We wish the Trojans good luck. We're going to take a quick break, come back. We'll talk Winamac Warrior football. Head coach Josh Burgess is here waiting.
9:44 to go here in the first half. From the gun, it's Owen Dorrell, takes the snap, steps back. Here come the Redskins. He's going to cut up to the 15, to the 10, to the 5. Touchdown, Owen Dorrell! Takes the snap, runs to the near side of the field, looking to throw, wide open. It's Ashton Walker, caught at the 5. Touchdown, Redskins!
One of our hometown businesses here in our area in Monterey, it's LAP Waste.
Being able to recycle is one of our main goals at LAP Waste. Being able to say that we only take about 8% of our trash to the dump is pretty impressive for us, and we hope to keep building on that.
We service an 80-mile circle from Monterey. If you have a small job, big job, or just have a one-time, we are here to make a difference in this area.
And that phone number, Kirby?
574-542-4019.
Stay tuned for more sports talk with Mitch Columbi on Kankakee Valley Broadcasting's WKVI.
Coke Zero is now Coke Zero Sugar with great Coke taste. Some people were excited to hear the news. Some were skeptical. So we're not going to have the star of the show you're watching come out and say, "You'll love it." No special jingle written by this week's hottest pop star. No famous internet celebs who happen to be holding the label just so. Okay. maybe just one little pour shot. The only thing that will make you believe Coke Zero Sugar has great Coke taste is trying it yourself. Ice cold Coke Zero Sugar. Try one today.
Listen for more insight in local high school sports on the Saturday Sports Line. Here's your sports director, Mitch Columbi.
Back from the Pulaski Memorial Hospital studios, we continue the Saturday Sports Line as we talk Winamac Warrior football with head coach Josh Burgess. Tough loss last night at home to rival Pioneer. Coach, what stuck out to you?
I think just their team speed. That was a concern for us going in, especially defensively. Their front three just really slants and gets off the ball in a hurry. And, outside linebackers, they're basically defensive ends. They walk those guys up in their 3-4. Number 3 is a nice player for him. And, we kind of talked all week about making sure that we get those guys blocked and taken care of. And I thought especially early we didn't do a very good job of that, accounting for them. So it made things tough for us offensively. And defensively, put a couple different things in, trying to account for some of their midline and triple option that they've added in with their wing T stuff just to get the Rance kid the football. They do a really nice job with that. But I thought it was their wing T stuff that really hurt us last night. Their down, their power, just stuff like that. We had defensive linemen too far upfield. That allowed their linemen to release to our linebackers and kind of had a mess there and just didn't get some assignments done early. So, I thought we made some progress last week being ready to play. This week, I think we took a step back from that for whatever reason. So, we as a coaching staff have to get that figured out and get that corrected, and we will. I thought as the game went on, especially, we get to halftime, and I was talking to Chris off air. It's kind of the frustrating thing. Obviously scores out of hand by halftime. The clock's running. We made a couple adjustments offensively and defensively, but nothing drastic. And our kids came out, and, hey, high school kids, I'm sure their kids had let up just a little bit too with the score being what it was, but 0-0. In the third quarter, our kids defensively got some things done. Offensively, we moved the ball a little bit too. So that's kind of the frustrating thing is, if you can do it coming out of halftime, we've got to find a way to do it coming out of the gate from the start. Not saying the outcome of the game changes. It probably doesn't. But just the effort in the third quarter was a lot better than the effort in the first and second. So like I said, we as coaches have to find ways to get that out of the kids early on and be ready to go. And the kids have to find ways to do it too. They've got to take a little personal accountability and think about what they need to do to have themselves ready to go against a good team. Give Pioneer a lot of credit. Coach Barry and his staff do an excellent job with what they do offensively, defensively, and special teams. Their kids are ready to go. Their kids are ready to play. And for whatever reason, our kids were not as ready to play. So some things we can get correct and some things we'll continue to work on as we get into the kind of the second third of the season here.
Yeah, someone that sticks out from the stats you shared with me last night, Tierson Wolford led the way with carries for you guys, and then he also led in tackles on defense. So that's one of the guys it seems like you can rely on at least as one of your main leaders.
Yeah, and we talked a lot. I talked to a lot of kids last night about stepping up and taking that leadership role. And we've got great kids, don't get me wrong. I love our kids to death. But we've got some kids that, especially junior and senior wise, need to kind of step into that role of being a team leader. I can stand up and talk to the kids till I'm blue in the face about, doing the right things and making sure that we're getting things done in practice. But when, somebody like Tierson or someone like Ethan Burgess or Cale Feder, or, we got 5 or 6 kids, when they open their mouths and say stuff, it means a whole lot more than, me saying it all the time too. So I think that's out of the comfort zone of some of our kids. But in order for us to improve, some of those kids are going to have to step up and take that leadership role and get after some of our kids when maybe things aren't going the way that they should be.
Yeah, start holding their teammates more accountable.
Yeah, we talk a lot about holding yourself accountable to your teammates, but then we need some guys to kind of step up and hold those teammates accountable and not yelling and screaming at guys and belittling them, things like that. That's not what we're talking about. Just, hey, they see some things that aren't going the way they should be. Just getting a little bit more vocal and saying, hey, we need to get this corrected and not have to wait for the coaches to get on us to get that corrected. So we've got some guys that are capable of doing that, and I know they will. So we've talked a lot about that, and I think some guys will show some improvement in that as we go through.
Well, something at halftime must have been said to fire him up, because you just mentioned you held them scoreless in the third, and then in the fourth you only allowed 8. So really the whole game was in the first half. What were you able to do in the second half, maybe defensively, that kind of stalled Pioneer from being able to do what they did in the first half?
Not a lot that we changed. We got some of our defensive linemen set in kind of just a little bit different front, but honestly, not any real big changes, and that was kind of the frustrating thing.
Executed, basically, is what it sounds like.
And we had guys in the first half in position to make plays. They just have to make them. A couple times up front defense, like I said, we had some guys running upfield too far, not reading blocks. Back end guys maybe not getting off blocks in the option game. I thought we played the down option with our outside linebackers at times pretty well, but then we didn't have a DB getting off a block to get to the pitch man. Or, certain times we didn't have those defensive ends crashing down on the fullback like they were supposed to, and that opened some things up. So just knowing your assignment and then executing your assignment, having confidence to execute that assignment. And then offense was the same thing, just knowing what we're doing, knowing who you're blocking, getting off the ball, keeping your pad level low. Those things sound simple and kind of cliche, but, those are things that you have to do, especially against quality opponents that we see in our conference week in and week out. If you don't do those things, it's going to be a long night. So things we can correct, things we can work on. We're going to continue to get better here as we go, like I said, through kind of the second third of the season here.
And I'll explain to the fans at home real quick, when they hear a coach talk about defense getting too far upfield, isn't that what you want to do? No. No, because it allows you to get trapped. If you get too far upfield, you put yourself in a position for them to trap you, and that makes that hole that much greater. Something on the defensive side of the ball, you always talk about, hey, heel depth. So wherever the offensive lineman's heels are, that's how deep you want to get. And so, you want to relocate the line of scrimmage, but you only want to relocate it at heel depth, and then you read and react as you're getting that depth. So just a quick explanation for the fans at home.
That's why you're our sports analyst.
I know a little bit.
Analyzing. Well, Coach, we're going to follow you to this next week. You travel to Culver. They're struggling right now as well. And from history that I've been here the last few years, those usually provide the best games. Two teams that are starving, that are hungry, that are fighting for anything that they can. It's usually a really good game. What do you know about the Cavs coming into this week?
Yeah, haven't watched a lot. I know Austin pretty well. I know they're struggling a little bit too with some of the things they're trying to do. So we'll have our hands full. I know one thing. They've got their numbers up a little bit this year, which is great for them. But their teams are always well coached. They play hard on both sides of the ball, all three phases of the game actually. So, and we got to get on a bus and go somewhere again. We haven't done that for 2 weeks, so right. That's going to be a little bit different for our kids too. To how are we going to respond to taking that bus ride? And it's not a far bus ride, but it's still a bus ride. Got to get on the bus. We got to find a way to get off and be ready to go from the first quarter, because I know Coach Foust and his staff will have their kids ready to play right away. So, both of us are in need of a win here. So it's going to be a battle. So we're gonna get a game plan around this weekend as coaches and figure out some things that we can do and do well, hopefully, and work on those things this week and go up and see if we can get it done.
Health of the ball club.
Yeah, we're in pretty good shape. Just the normal bumps and bruises and dings. I think we got everybody pretty much back now. Hayden Taylor had been out for a couple weeks with kind of an Achilles problem. He got back last night and got in and got through the game with no issue. So I think as of right now, we've got everybody pretty healthy and ready to go. We'll mention some of our younger kids that got in last night in the fourth quarter. I thought a lot of our JV guys played pretty well. That they're raw, but they got in, and those same JV guys, we probably sent about 25 kids or so over to Pioneer this morning for a JV game, which is nice. We've got our full JV schedule in. Last couple of years we've scrounged around to maybe get 12 or 13 to play. So we've got a good number of kids that are getting some good experience. Probably just started a few minutes ago. Our middle school's over at Pioneer this morning too, and then we've also got flag football going on this morning for our 2nd through 5th graders. So excited for those kids and excited for the opportunity that they have to play and get better. So some of those younger kids, by what they're doing this morning and also what they've done the last couple weeks in limited action, are getting some harder looks from us. So, they're kind of playing their way into maybe a little bit of time on Friday night, which should be the ultimate goal. So, we're excited with our numbers. Now we just need to make sure that we continue to get better with our kids every week and have that translate over to Friday night.
Yeah, we've kind of talked about it before. High school kids, it's easy to get down on yourself and you kind of get in a rut and you don't really want to pick yourself up and be positive. But what is the positive message right now to kind of keep the faith alive, to kind of keep the excitement there, to let them know, hey, you got to let that go. We got to come out and we got to fight here. Anything can happen at any time. What are some of the messages?
Exactly. We talk about week to week. You know, we just got to get better every week, and we got to play week to week. You know, each week is our biggest game on the schedule. So just trying to stay in the moment. And then, you know, again, you know, hey, the conference stuff is nice and we want to win every game that we're in. But our ultimate goal is to make sure that we're playing our best football when we get to week 10 and get in that tournament. Because, you know, honestly, that's the stuff that matters. You know, how far can you get in that tournament, how far you can advance. We talk a lot about that with our kids. And I'm not worried about our kids. Our kids' attitude is good. They come ready to work every day. We just got to get a little more consistent with that effort and with that work. So we'll continue to get better and we'll continue to grow from some of these things we've dealt with so far. So like I said, I like our kids. Our kids are going to come and work, and we'll continue to do the work to get the results that we're after.
Well, look forward to seeing you this week in practice, Coach. We'll see you at Culver. Should be a good game this week. Thanks for your time today.
Yeah, looking forward to it. Appreciate you guys and your coverage. Thank you.
Absolutely. All right, that is head coach of the Winamac Warriors. It is Josh Burgess. They're in a fight, and they need you, Warrior Nation, this coming week at Culver. Two of WKVI area teams clash here on KVB's WKVI. We're going live at 6:30 Eastern, 5:30 Central this Friday. Don't miss it. We're going to take a break, come back. Our Athlete of the Week interview with Brooklyn Jones from South Central is up next.
Takes a snap from the gun, up the middle, breaks away to the 10, the 5, still at his feet, and he will score! Touchdown, Redskins!
There's a trend happening around the educational world. More and more high school graduates are attending smaller community colleges to start their educational journey. At Marian University's Ancilla College, we welcome students from all walks of life. The opportunities at Marian University are endless, from living on campus to being a collegiate student athlete. From day one, your professors will help you create a plan for a success at Marian and beyond. Find out more about Marian University's Ancilla College through our website at marian.edu/Ancilla today.
The Stark County Co-op has been a member-owned farm services co-op in Stark County since 1928. That's over 90 years, and they're still providing the same quality agronomy services to the farming community of Stark and surrounding counties. The Stark County Co-op is an LP and fuel provider. The Stark County Co-op purchases grain at both locations, Hamlet and Brems. You can reach them by phone at 1-800-782-3392.
It's time now for Hour 2 of the Saturday Sports Line with your host, Kankakee Valley Broadcasting's WKVI Sports Director, Mitch Columbi, and sports analyst, Chris McGowan.
We are back for more from the Pulaski Memorial Hospital studios. This is the longest running high school sports show in Indiana, the Saturday Sports Line. It is time to talk about our Tyler Roth WKVI Athlete of the Week, senior volleyball player from South Central, Brooklyn Jones. Brooklyn achieved her 1,000th career assist last week, and that is why we named her our Tyler Roth WKVI Athlete of the Week. Without further ado, here's my sit-down interview with the senior from South Central, Brooklyn Jones.
All right, I am talking with our Tyler Roth WKVI Athlete of the Week. It is South Central volleyball star Brooklyn Jones. Brooklyn, congratulations on 1,000 career assists. Talk about that moment. What did it mean for you?
I would say it meant a lot only because I have worked so hard to earn it. and I think it's a big accomplishment, especially in a year and like a quarter, and I think that meant a lot that I had all my teammates to support me through that, especially since I've always played volleyball since like 7th grade, and to look up to like different setters or like college players and seeing all their accomplishments, it felt good to have my own.
Well, of course, we know the history of South Central volleyball. We've covered it the last many years. We've talked with coaches, Coach Foust in particular. Talk about the history maybe a little bit. What's it mean to be a South Central satellite? Because there were girls before you that did wonderful things as well. Has it kind of set the bar in your opinion? Hey, this is how we play satellite volleyball.
I would say South Central volleyball, or any South Central sports, mainly is just a big family. I feel like everyone's supportive, and it's a small school, so everyone knows everyone. And like walking down the halls and having people that I don't really speak to saying congratulations, and like even with other sports, I've seen other people do that with other people that have great accomplishments, and I would just say that South Central is just a big family.
What is it about the sport of volleyball that you love?
Just the team. I love the sport. I've had a love for it since, again, 7th grade. And then after I fell in love with it, playing school, I played club at Dunes, which made me fall in love with it even more. And then watching Louisville versus Notre Dame, that was a great game. Loved it. So that definitely kind of added up to my love for the sport. Not even just like playing in the game, but playing with different people through club or school, and kind of just playing and see how everyone works with each other.
What were the goals coming into this season? Maybe Coach Fossauer and the rest of the coaching staff had for you girls, but what was maybe the team's overall goal? What were you hoping to achieve this year as a team?
So with losing one of our main players, Samantha Marks, she has been out for the entire season so far. She's hopefully to get cleared soon to play back row maybe, but I think our goal was, because she was a big part of our team, our goal was kind of just figuring out how everyone else works and seeing how we can work together again without her. And we had one of our big middles, McKenna Welsh. She moved to outside, which was different, so we had to learn to work together. And I think our goals this year was to figure out how we can all work together as a team.
Talk about the coaching staff. What is it about Coach Fossauer and the rest of them that you really appreciate?
They always have good things to say. They're very constructive. I do like how not everything's sugar-coated, because he tells us what we need to do and how we can improve, and when we're doing something good and when we're doing something bad, but it's all constructive. And Mrs. Schroeder, Coach Schroeder, she's also a big part, and Coach they also are assistant, but Mrs. Schroeder, she's JV's coach, but she's always at every game, and they're very also good at giving advice and constructive criticism as well.
Tell us your parents' names.
Jacqueline Snyder and Brandon Jones.
And talk about the support system they've been for you.
They have always, my mom hasn't missed a single game. She's always been there for me through anything, through life, through volleyball, through Dunes, through school, through travel. My dad has also always been there. They are very supportive. And also I would like to shout out to my grandparents, who have also been a second parents to me. They've been at everything as well. I feel like I have just a really, really great family that's very supportive.
What does it mean to Brooklyn Jones to be a South Central satellite?
I would say being a South Central satellite, I've always been it since kindergarten. It just feels, like I said again, like I have a huge family. Everyone knows everyone, and it just means a lot getting the support from mostly my family. I've known all these people my entire life, and it feels really good to grow up with them.
Well, Brooklyn, I sure do appreciate your time. Once again, congratulations on 1,000 career assists. That is quite an accomplishment for you and your goals this season, but also congratulations for being named one of our Tyler Roth WKVI Athletes of the Week.
Thank you so much.
Well, I appreciate Chuck Wilhelm for helping me set that interview up, as we are going to take a quick break. More sports talk on the way. You're listening to KVB's WKVI. It's the Saturday Sports Line.
So you can't sleep, baby, I know. Does that mean it's so? Move it up, down, left, right, oh. Switch it up like Nintendo. So you can't sleep, baby, I know. Does that mean it's so? I can't relate to desperation. My kids.
At First Farmers Bank and Trust, agriculture has been a cornerstone of our business for more than 135 years. Our personal relationships within the ag community run deep for multiple generations. If you're looking for a financial partner that knows, understands, and supports agriculture, I'd love to hear from you. I'm Isaac Blue, Ag Banker at First Farmers. Come into our Knox, North Judson, or Culver branches, or visit us online at ffbt.com when you're ready to talk about growing your operation. First Farmers Bank and Trust, member FDIC, equal opportunity lender.
Stay tuned for more sports talk with Mitch Columbi and Chris McGowan on the longest-running high school sports show in Indiana, the Saturday Sports Line.
Coke Zero is now Coke Zero Sugar with great Coke taste. Some people were excited to hear the news. Some were skeptical. So we're not going to have the star of the show you're watching come out and say, "You'll love it." No special jingle written by this week's hottest pop star. No famous internet celebs who happen to be holding the label just so. Okay, maybe just one little pour shot. The only thing that will make you believe Coke Zero Sugar has great Coke taste is trying it yourself. Ice cold Coke Zero Sugar. Try one today.
There's a trend happening around the educational world. More and more high school graduates are attending smaller community colleges to start their educational journey. At Marian University's Ancilla College, we welcome students from all walks of life. The opportunities at Marian University are endless, from living on campus to being a collegiate student athlete. From day one, your professors will help you create a plan for a success at Marian and beyond. Find out more about Marian University's Ancilla College through our website at marian.edu/Ancilla today.
Here's more with area high school coaches as we return to the Saturday Sports Line from the Pulaski Memorial Hospital Studios on K99.3.
Great interview there with our Tyler Roth WKVI Athlete of the Week, Brooklyn Jones. That volleyball team at South Central, it just keeps getting better every year. Shout out to head coach Paul Fausauer and company. They've always got the team. But we transitioned to Culver as the Cavaliers football team fell last night to Triton. You heard it on our other station, KVB's WYMR. That's Max 98.3 with the voice of Max Sports, Rusty Nixon, and sports analyst Joe McKee. We have an opportunity to talk with head coach of the Cavs, Austin Foust. I've got him on the line. It's the Sports Line. Coach, how you doing this morning?
Good. How you doing, Mitch?
I'm hanging in there. I know it was a tough loss for you last night. Let's talk us through it. Heard you a little bit this morning on the Saturday Morning Coaches Show on Max 98.3, but go ahead and give us the rundown for our listeners that may have missed it.
Yeah, it was obviously not the result we wanted. I thought there was things that we did well, but just kind of the same things that kind of echoed to our team, and said on the radio, just the consistency. Defensively, we tackled better. We just couldn't get off the field. We could stop, first down, second down, and then we give something up on third down, whether it's a long run kind of type deal, and give them another shot. The Triton's kind of unique. They got a nice running back in Overmeyer, but unique on what they do. They're a little bit kind of they just try to get hat on a hat, and then they just kind of let the running back just try to find a hole. And sometimes he's bouncing it when it's probably supposed to be up the middle, and he just bounces it on you, or he cuts back on you. So you got to really make sure you have kids in position. And there's times we were out of position, or we fit the wrong way, and it gave them a chance to kind of bounce it up the sideline for a big gain. And then offensively, we just couldn't sustain drives long enough. Our first drive was not very good, but after that, we kind of moved the ball in the passing game, but we just couldn't finish. So there was things that that we did well. We just got to continue that consistency and being able to, get off the field on defense and finish in the end zone on offense.
Maybe some plays that stuck out to you. I know you got the 8 points there. Talk us through that touchdown. What worked on that play?
Yeah, it was towards the, end of the game there. We found a little bit of something with the jet sweep with Braylon Jackson. He ran the ball hard on a couple carries that he got, and he was able to take it around for probably 20, 25-yard touchdown run. And then John Carr, who kind of got thrown in the starting running back role this week, had the 2-point conversion. He got there. Caleb McEwen had a nice run on our counter play that kind of set it up, and we had some nice passes really kind of throughout the game. Scotty Banks kind of developed and he made some nice catches. This is just still his third game as playing football, and he's coming along. Jordan Green did as well. We did some nice things in the passing game. We just got to be able to help out Jonas a little bit more up front. Credit to Triton though. Triton's offensive line, defensive line, kind of really established themselves and made it tough on us.
Defensively, what do you need to tighten up? Obviously, it's not been the way you wanted it to go the last couple of weeks. Defensively, what do you want to see get better?
Yeah, just the discipline and consistency. Like I said, when we show our guys on film and things, we're really, really, really close. Like we're, one guy away from doing this, and 2 guys away from doing this. We do it this play, but we don't do it this play kind of thing. And we just got to, I think, maybe kind of sit them down and, kind of go back and just kind of make sure we're all on the same page of, hey, this is, we don't have to try to play, I guess you want to call it hero ball. Like, you don't have to make the tackle every single play. We need you in your gap, because if you're in your gap and this guy's in this gap and we fit it the way it needs to be fit, good things are going to happen. And sometimes I think we just got guys that, no fault of their own. I mean, they're trying to do the right thing and they want to make a play. But sometimes, you going out and trying to make a play where we really need you in that gap, that might open things up for the other team. So we just got to get better at that. And I think our kids will. Like I said, their attitude's been good. We have just a good group of guys. We saw some guys mature. I think, our senior class is leading by example. And then we got Drake Zorich, who's kind of became kind of our voice as well. And I think Jonas has stepped up here in the last couple of weeks too on finding his voice and holding guys accountable. So we're doing a lot of good things. It's just, we got to keep moving in that direction and getting that consistency so it shows on the scoreboard.
You'll see Winamac this week. We'll be there for you. Boy, you've been on the radio a lot, Coach. You're becoming quite the celebrity.
Yeah, I mean, it's almost as much as we're on the radio now. I think it's just kind of supposed to be an every week thing is what it almost seems like, right?
Well, you got that new press box. We're getting excited.
Yeah. So we got the press box, our field. Finally got a chance to play in our field, and it looked awesome. Our maintenance guys and Matt Carter and Jeff Burke and our art teacher and Shane Lowry, did an awesome job with the logo and stuff. So it was. It was good stuff. We got a really nice field and really nice facilities for a 1A program. So, our kids were even, they went up to the press box before the game and was talking about, God, we're spoiled. Like, we're spoiled here. And it's like, yep, hopefully. I'm glad you guys realize that because we are. But no, yeah, we got Winamac that obviously, their start to the season is not what they want. But I think I said it on the Plymouth radio. There's probably not a coach, though, in the state of 1A that wants to play their first 3 games because they've played 3 good teams. I think Pioneer's the only team, right? He's got 1 loss. I think Frontier's undefeated, West Central undefeated. So they played a tough schedule. So that I think I don't think it really kind of dictates exactly how good Winamac is because they're a good ball club. Obviously. Josh does a good job over there, and you can tell what they're doing, and they got some nice athletes and who they want to get the ball to, and obviously defensively too, they're going to put pressure on you. They got the Wolford kid in the middle, so it's going to be a challenge for us. Obviously, they're probably excited to to see us and, think this is a good chance to get their first win. And, we got to make sure, we have a good week of practice and stop that. We got homecoming this week. So that's also another thing where you're, what's that going to do for practice and making sure our kids' heads are right, and what's that fine line too of wanting them to enjoy themselves and enjoy homecoming, but also too, like we tell our guys, homecoming is, it's about the football team, and to have a successful homecoming is we got to win the game. So that's our job.
Message to Cav Nation right now in hopes they show up in full force for you this coming week.
Yeah, it's I know they're going to. We got homecoming. It's going to be a great week of activities and a lot of home events with soccer and volleyball throughout the week, and then obviously we have our homecoming parade on Friday. So that's usually a big deal, and make sure you come on out to Cav Field, and like I say all the time, bring your boombox or your radios and put on 99.3 this week, right? 98.3 last week. Now you got 99.3 this week, and listen to Mitch, and hopefully we can come away with Cavalier W.
I asked Coach Burgess this a few moments ago. When dealing with high school kids, sometimes they can get down on themselves, and it's hard to kind of get out of that rut, and you kind of feel sorry for yourself. But what are some of the messages? I know you guys got the positive. You guys got the positive coaching staff. What are some of the positive messages that you're sharing with the kids, maybe behind the scenes, if you're able to share with us some of the details that you're trying to let them know, hey, you got to put that behind you. You got to pick yourself up by your bootstraps and go on. It's almost like life. You're not always going to be given the red carpet. You've got to find a way.
Yeah, you're right. That's why I think, football is one of the greatest sports because there's so much in life, right, where, not everything's going to go your way or not everything's going to go exactly how you want. But, next play mentality kind of thing, right? I mean, you may not have a good day today, but you can't sit and talk about it because the world's not going to stop, right, because you had a bad day. The other team's not going to stop because you had a bad play, right? So you gotta be able to come back and have a short memory. And with our kids, it's just kind of trying to show them, the stuff they're doing. I kind of told our kids Thursday, I feel like, in practice, we go out, we're wanting to make plays. We know we're going to make plays. Then on Friday, we kind of hope we make the play, right? And that confidence is kind of lacking. And I thought last night we had guys that went out and made plays for us, guys that did some things that we hadn't saw in the first 2 weeks on a Friday night. So, it's just kind of reinforcing those things with those kids and showing them, hey, you're able to do this. Look, you did this. With us, it's kind of been, hey, look, this play right here, you did exactly what we wanted and you were able to do it. Now look what happens when we don't do that.
Yeah.
So just trying to get that consistency. And again, it goes with life, right? Consistency is an easy thing to say, but it's a hard thing to do. And that's one of the things that we constantly keep talking to our kids about. Just being able to do the little things over and over and over again. And, credit to our kids, like, they understand that. And, I said it last week, we didn't really have kids making excuses. We had kids that owned up to it and said, hey, Coach, I messed up, or Coach, I was looking in the backfield, or this one's on me. And our kids have done a really good job of taking the coaching and taking the constructive criticism, and trying to get better from it. So far, our spirits are good, and we got a JV game on Monday, so our JV kids' spirits have been good too as well. So things obviously haven't shown on the scoreboard the way we wanted to, but there's a lot of positive things. We just got to make that consistency to where we can see it reflected on the scoreboard.
Well, Coach, we'll be there for you this coming week. I'll see you in practice. I appreciate your time this morning, and good luck this week in preparation for the Warriors.
We appreciate it. We'll see you out there, Mitch. Thank you.
All right, that is head coach of the Culver Cavaliers, Austin Foust, here on the Saturday Sports Line. We're going to take a break, come back, we'll talk with South Central Satellites head coach, Buzz Schoff. He's here. Don't go anywhere.
Next play, it's McLaughlin to the near side of the field, to the 25 to the 20, still on his feet to the 15, 10, 5, touchdown Redskins, Miles McLaughlin! Next play, McLaughlin up the left side, and he's going to get the touchdown! He reached forward and he got it. Another one to add to the resume, Miles McLaughlin. 6 more points, Chris.
Pulaski Memorial Hospital. Quality care closer to home. Pulaski Memorial Hospital is all about community and keeping our community spotlight shining on the accomplishments of our youth. That's why PMH is proud to be a sponsor of our local high school sports action on WKVI, our community radio station. Pulaski Memorial Hospital. Quality care closer to home.
Stay tuned for more sports talk with Mitch Columbi on Kankakee Valley Broadcasting's WKVI.
Did you catch that touchdown last night? It was insane.
Nope. Missed it. My screen froze and then game over.
You got to get Surf Internet. I've got fast fiber speeds with no throttling ever.
Sounds like a winning play. Sign me up.
Score big with Surf Fiber Fast Internet today. Just $30 a month with AutoPay, including free installation and free Wi-Fi. Visit surfinternet.com. Restrictions apply. Not all speeds available in all areas. Go to surfinternet.com for full offer details.
Frayne Mortuary in Winamac is family-owned and operated with 3 locations serving Pulaski County and the surrounding communities. Frayne Mortuary has provided our community with caring and compassionate service for loved ones. Our licensed staff is available to assist you with pre-need funeral planning and at-need funeral planning. We provide traditional burial and cremation services. We offer a full line of headstones and monuments at Frayne Mortuary in Winamac. It's our family serving your family.
Now let's return to more of the Saturday Sports Line with WKVI Sports Director Mitch Columbi.
And it's time to talk South Central football with head coach Buzz Schoff. Tough loss last night against the North Judson-San Blue Jays, coach. But anytime you go up against the Jays, you learn a lot about yourselves.
Yeah, absolutely. Anytime you see North Judson on the schedule, you're gonna your flaws are going to be exposed real quick and in a hurry. So we knew going in that if we started last night's game how we finished Boone Grove, we were in for a long night. And is North Judson a better football team than us? I mean, yes, they are. But what we can't have is we can't have missed tackles the way we had missed tackles. We can't have misalignments how we had misalignments, and we can't have missed blocks like we had missed blocks, and we can't have just normal basic things that is mental, right? The mental errors are what kind of drive you crazy in that type of game. If you lose a football game because you're playing a better opponent, everybody's okay with that. That's okay. But when you beat yourself before the ball is even snapped, that's when, as a coach, you get upset with your kids. And, we just have to kind of look at ourselves and say, listen, how we practice is got to be how we play. And, going into Judson, we had a few kids out throughout the week. I can't mimic. So I'm playing scout team fullback, right? I can't mimic that, right? That's not helping our kids in the process, right? Because they're not going to tackle me.
Right.
So how do I expect them to tackle the fullback on Friday night when they really haven't had to do it all week long? So, when things like that happen, right? When you got 25 kids on the roster, well, we got 30 kids on the roster, but 25 have been able to suit up through the first 3 weeks. When you only got 21 at practice and now, the head coach has to be the fullback, you're not getting what you need to get out of this practice. And, the expectation is still there, right? I mean, if I'm playing scout team and you come up and hit me, like, I'm okay with it, right? Right. I'm all right with that. Like, don't knock out my teeth. And everything's fine. But, it's just situations like that are the unmeasurables that happen at our level. And, I don't know if there's any other team that their coach has to play on the scout team or not, but that's what the situation we were in, knowing that we have to play our best football this week, and we can't even, mimic it in practice. So, and as far as the game goes last night, when you play a triple option team, they know that it's going to be one-on-one and you have to make the tackle, right? If you miss the tackle against a triple option team, it goes for a long way. And we had our guys in the position that we wanted them in, and then we just didn't make that tackle. So it made it tough on that aspect of it. And they just kind of they beat us. And, our kids, respond. They don't ever quit, but they got to understand that the game of football, right? Even if you're outmatched, well, the other team better understand they're still in a football game, right?
Yeah,
like
it's not a fight.
You have to expose their mistakes too, right? If they're better than you, you have to take advantage of everything you can, and we just weren't able to do that. We weren't able to, the things that we did right, we weren't able to put enough of those together in order to make this game competitive the way that we could be proud of.
So what are you thinking after this game? I mean, it's a tough team when you go up against the Jays, but the week prior at Boone Grove, you're in that game. So I mean, what are you talking to the kids? What's the message in the locker room, to keep their spirits up?
So I mean, the whole thing is, right, it doesn't matter who you play, right? You're playing for yourself. Right, as a high school athlete, as a college athlete, as a coach, right? I'm representing myself. I'm representing my family. I'm representing my community. I'm representing my school. How do you want your family, your school, your community to look at you? And there's nobody in the world that can say they won every battle they've ever been in, right? They haven't won every game. They haven't won everything they've ever done, right? Everybody has come short. But if you represent them in the way that it should be represented, then you're winning at life. And that's the whole goal, right? We want good citizens of the community to come out of this. And football is just the method in which we teach you that.
Yeah.
Right? When you get knocked down, what do? Well, you get back up and you line up and you adjust just a little bit, and hopefully you're successful the next time. And every single play you make a little bit of an adjustment, and then hopefully it all clicks together. So I don't worry about our kids getting too down on themselves. This is not a game that's going to make South Central football vanish, right? They're going to show up on Monday. They're going to be ready to go. They're going to want to prepare for Triton. So, we just got to stay positive. We got to focus on the things that we do right, fix the things that we do wrong, and then hopefully every single little correction we make turns into something that we want it to be, and we continue to grow as human beings and as football players. And I have the confidence that our team is going to be ready to go, and we won't miss a beat because we got beat by a better football team.
Sure.
So was there anything last night that Judson did that may have surprised you?
No. I mean, other than C.J. Sanchez standing on the sideline with his letter jacket, I mean, that was a surprise to me. I thought for sure they'd be full throttle, but I mean,
we found out this morning from Coach Lambert he tore his ACL.
Really?
Yeah.
So he is out for the remainder of the year.
Yeah, that's a shame. Great football player, great future ahead of him. You never want to hear that, right? I mean, I know that we're enemies last night, but I mean, I have the most respect for North Judson. Their school, their community, and Brett's a great dude. If he needs anything, I'll give it to him. If I need anything, he'll give it right back. Just the most respect. You never want to hear about a kid having a season-ending injury like that. No matter who the kid is, right? If the kid's going to be a fireman at the end of the year, you still don't want him to be hurt.
That, yeah.
You want him to enjoy the moment. You only get to do this one time, and anybody who's played high school football football, they can talk about it for hours, right? It's the time of your life, but you hate to hear that, and I just hope that everything turns out okay for the young man.
Okay, so on the flip side of that, was there anything last night you thought that going in, okay, maybe this won't work, but it actually did, or was there anything that you were surprised by what your team was able to do or not do last night that you thought you were going to have success at, or maybe not have success at, but ended up the other way?
A few things. I thought that we had their option scheme kind of figured out as far as our alignments and how we played against it. But again, it came down to tackling, right? So we just didn't tackle well last night. I guess that falls on me, but I can't make the tackle, right? I can get you in position to make the tackle, but that was a little disheartening. Last night, I thought North Judson. It's hard to move the football on North Judson any way possible, right? They kind of force you to the outside, and then they're going to beat you with their speed. They're going to rally to the football, and I thought we could kind of get to the edge a little bit on them, and we just weren't able to do that. And a lot of times it was an alignment mistake or not understanding, okay, I got to come down on this guy and make this block, and we just weren't able to do things like that. I guess kind of the most shocking thing is how many times they threw the football last night. I think they ended up having 3 touchdown passes last night, another long one, and for me, that hurts a little bit, right? If there's a defense in this league that should be able to stop the pass, it's probably ours. But just because we see it so often. But they got I forget the young man's name, number 41. He's a 6'2" kid. Our corners are 5'5", 5'6". The first touchdown pass, he just goes over the top of us. We're in perfect position. We get a hand on the ball. We just can't cover 6'2", right? So I tell the young man, listen, that happens, right? That you see that on Sundays, right? He just made a good play. You're in position. You can't ask for anything like that. But there's other times where we just miss the read and he's standing wide open. Well, we can't have that. Right. That's a mistake that we can't have. But I thought we made them, not do that anymore when we ended up with the pick 6. But I thought, all right, they're not going to throw the ball on us anymore. I feel much better about that. But then they ended up throwing about 5 more on us. But but hey, Judson's looking to kind of expand that playbook and get back to where they were at last year. So you totally expect them to kind of throw everything at you, and that's what they did last night, and we're successful on the majority of the things. So we just got to get better at what we do and focus on ourselves, and hopefully we can turn this thing around. And I think we let one get away from us last week against Boone Grove. Yeah. If we end up winning that game, we got a little more confidence coming into Judson. And now after Judson, now we got to pick ourselves back up because Triton's not a cakewalk either. So it doesn't end because you're 0-3. You gotta focus on yourself. You just got to get better, and you're the only one that can turn it around. Nobody's coming out of the woodwork that's going to fix this thing other than the guys that have been out there every other day.
What do you know about Triton?
Just kind of a power run it right at you type team. I think as I was driving in here, I heard Austin talking. The Overmeyer kid. Just a typical running back. Old school football. Right. We're going to line up. We're going to come right at you. We're going to try to double team at the point of attack and try to get more bodies than you have. So with that, you got to stand your ground. right? You got to read your keys, you got to trust your keys, and you just got to come play downhill, right? He's elusive. I don't know how fast he is, right? If we line up on the 40, how fast he would be, but he's elusive, right? He makes a nice cut. He'll bounce it outside, and he'll beat you to the corner. So, just read your keys, trust your keys, and understand you have a job, and if you do your job, everything's going to be okay. But we got to have 11 guys doing their job on every play, or this is what could happen. So, it doesn't get any easier, but we just got a different scheme to look at. We just gotta man up here and play downhill. This is the type of football that you expect to see. We're gonna hand it to our best player, and he's gonna run downhill at you. Can you tackle him? And we gotta tackle better than we have the past 2 weeks.
Health of the ball club.
So we're looking okay. Hopefully we get 2 kids that sat out last week. Hopefully we get them back in the near future. Hopefully we'll get one back this week, and hopefully with the regulations of sitting out the practices, they got to have so many practices to return to play. Right. Hopefully we get the other one back next week. So we're getting there. We've had a lot of strange injuries, a lot of just kind of those weird injuries that, like, how does that even happen type things. But everybody's getting in, and hopefully everybody gets back at some point. We just got to gauge, how much we want to put on somebody as they return. And other kids are getting, invaluable experience because of an injury. You're getting put in a spot that maybe you weren't quite ready for, but you're growing in that area. So we just hope to be playing our best in the near future.
Time slips when I talk to you, Coach. I don't know if it's that good of a conversation. Every time I look up at the clock, I go, it hasn't been that long. We haven't been talking. I can't believe we've been talking for 15 minutes. That was a fast 15 minutes, Coach.
Well, I haven't really been talking to you. I've been talking to Chris over here because your hat.
I'm sorry. It's my Colts hat. It's my Colts hat.
Oh, yeah, right.
Coach Lambert loved it.
Coach,
and Russ didn't even make a comment. He was the one I expected to go, I like that.
Coach, it's always good to see you. I'll wear a better one next week.
There we go. Okay. There we go. Get
little Peyton Manning. I'll get my Peyton Manning hat out.
Get Welter's shirt, 4 verts on you.
Yeah, 4 verts, yeah.
Coach, we'll talk to you soon. Good luck this week in preparation for Triton.
All right, thank you.
All right, that is head coach of the South Central Satellites Buzz Show here on the Saturday Sports Line. Where the Now segment with Harold Welter is up next. Don't go anywhere. You're listening to Kankakee Valley Broadcasting's WKVI. It's the Saturday Sports Line.
Your body's beat
A lot of men up front on 4th and 3. He's going to take the snap, keep it himself, use the hole. He's going to get the first down and more to the 15, 10, 5. Touchdown, Redskins! Miles McLaughlin! He'll take the snap, fake the handoff up the middle, across the 50, to the 45, to the 40, to the 35, to the 30, 25 to the 20. He's all alone. 15, 10, 5. Touchdown, Redskins! Miles McLaughlin, number 9 on the ground this night.
Janet from another planet. Intergalactic Janet from
It's hard to believe, but time sure does fly by. Collins Insurance Agency in downtown Knox are celebrating over 30 years of taking care of all of your insurance needs in our communities.
If I could turn back time.
And we're not going anywhere.
Stop in and see Jim and the crew at Collins Insurance Agency in downtown Knox.
Insurance you can count on from a business you've trusted since 1989.
Proud presidential partners of Western Reserve.
Are you interested in being part of a rapidly growing local company with competitive pay, opportunity for advancement, and a steady routine? LAP Waste is hiring immediately for a mechanic and both CDL A and B drivers. They offer great health benefits, PTO, holidays, and the ability to be home with your family every evening. Call them today at 574-542-4019 or email your resume to lapwaste@yahoo.com.
Did you catch that touchdown last night? It was insane.
Nope. Missed it. My screen froze and then game over.
You got to get Surf Internet. I've got fast fiber speeds with no throttling ever.
Sounds like a winning play. Sign me up.
Score big with Surf Fiber Fast Internet today. Just $30 a month with AutoPay, including free installation and free Wi-Fi. Visit surfinternet.com. Restrictions apply. Not all speeds available in all areas. Go to surfinternet.com for full offer details.
Stay tuned for more sports talk with Mitch Columbi and Chris McGowan on the longest-running high school sports show in Indiana, the Saturday Sports Line.
It's time now for Where Are They Now? A look back at more than a half century of local high school sports coverage on Kankakee Valley Broadcasting's WKVI. Today's program is brought to you by Osborne's Mini Mart in Knox. Now let's meet one of the local high school sports figures from more than 50 years of WKVI sports and find out where are they now?
Well, as we look back on more than 50 years of broadcasting high school sports on WKVI, our guest is Bob Nice, a 1977 graduate of Winamac High School, and we call this segment Where Are They Now? So, Bob, where are you now, and what are you doing?
Well, I am living in Carmel, Indiana. I'm an attorney for, hard to believe, 40 years now. And if you drive around 465, the north side of Indianapolis, between Michigan and Meridian, there's a building, a two-story brick with white pillars, that says the Nice Law Firm. And a lot of people drive by every day wondering what the heck a Nice Law Firm is. But I am Mr. Nice, and it's been a lot of fun sitting behind a lawyer's desk for the last 40 years.
Well, you played a lot of sports at Winamac High School, particularly basketball. You played some golf. And going back over all those games you played in, Bob, all these years later, which is the one game that stands out more than any other?
Well, we had an incredible win over Caston, where we went into a double overtime, and we did that. Kent Udy and I were co-captains that year. Kent stole the ball. A guy tried to call timeout, and Kent ran down and made a layup in the nick of time to tie the game. And then I made the free throws in the second overtime that put us over the top. And it was a fantastic team effort, an exhausting but a fantastic win when you just completely spent and after a double overtime, but we came out on top. Never forget it.
Well, you played for Bob March there at Winamac, and you guys didn't have a lot of winning seasons, but boy, you played in a lot of close games. You mentioned that double overtime, and I remember back in the sectionals when you were put out by 1 or 2 points every game.
Every year. I played varsity 75, 76, and 77. And every we won Tuesday night and lost on Friday night, and it was always by either 1 or 2 points. And I think it was 5 points total in 3 years that we lost by. It was just a crusher. And the thing I remember the most my senior year, we were playing Culver, and there was, this is when the refs don't see everything. And this fella, a shot went up, and he elbowed me right in the ribs. And I was always viewed as a pretty nice kid. I was not one that got into trouble or got into fights or things like that. But, the height of the sectional, and I just lost my mind for a minute, and I just forearmed him right in the teeth. And, of course, they didn't see him elbow me in the ribs, but everybody in the gym saw me straight arm him in the mouth, and I got a technical, and the coach took me out, and everybody was kind of smiling about it. They talked about that years since, that I was just out of character, but sometimes you get pushed too far.
Well, you played with some pretty darn good athletes there at Winamac, didn't you?
Of course, I say sometimes I talk about it. I wasn't the best, but I was the best they had. Kent Udy and I put up a lot of points, did a lot of scoring. Kent was just a fantastic guard, and I had to play center a great deal of time till my senior year when Richard Harper came along. I was a shooter primarily from the corner. We had some wonderful other athletes kind of a year ahead of us or a year behind us coming through. Mike Howe was a really good point guard. Steve Bunnell was a really talented all-around athlete. We just didn't have enough size. At 6'2.5", I was the biggest guy, and Bob March used to list me as up to 6'5". When he'd send out the weight and height to the other teams for their programs, he would put me at 6'5" just to try and intimidate him a little bit, but I wasn't.
Well, you played golf in high school too. After really playing a lot of sports at the middle school level, didn't you? Yeah. So the funny story is that in middle school, I grew way ahead of everybody. In 12-year-old Little League, I'd wear my coach's softball pants. I'd take a birth certificate to the All-Star game. I was 6 inches taller than everybody else. So in middle school track, I was better just because I was bigger. And then everybody else grew into high school, and I did not get any better. And so my sophomore year, I went to the track coach and said, Coach, I think I'm going to quit the track team and join the golf team. And without missing a beat and with a smile on his face, he said, I think that'll make both teams better. So, c'est la vie. It was a good decision. We'll just say that. It was a good decision. And you mentioned Kent Union. When I talked with him a while back on this program, he said one thing you guys always did is you always had fun. We did. Kent and I grew up together, and by the time we got into high school, we'd been playing basketball together for years and years. We really just knew where each other was going to be, and so we just had a great time out there, and he could pass. You know, he was the Braden Smith of Winamac way back then, and he was fantastic, and I was a pretty good shot from the corner, and together we did really well. One of my favorite mementos now, there's a guy in Winamac named Scott Rodabush who owns a company that carves things out into wood, like park benches and that kind of thing. Right. And they replaced the hardwood floor in Winamac in 2022, and it had been there since 1960. And he went dumpster diving for a bunch of that wood, and he did some homework, and he was able to carve and scribe, etch, whatever you call it, into wood. The coaches, the records of every team from 1960 to 2022, and he had the top 50 scorers. And I was the 26th highest scorer for Winamac during those 62 years. Not bad for a kid from Winamac. As you were growing up there in Winamac, who were some of the people who were like your role models or who helped you be successful? Well, I got a good story for you here, and I'll try and tell it as fast as I can. But Harold Staffelt was the judge in Winamac, circuit court judge. And even though I knew I was going to go off to pharmacy school initially because my parents' best friend was the local druggist, I was going to go back and have nice drugs. But I used to go up during the summertime and watch what was going on. And he would ask me, why are you here? And I said, I just want to understand how this works. And so I go off to Purdue, I get into pharmacy school, I'm going to be a pharmacist. And about 3 years in, I'm home one weekend for church, and after church, the judge comes over and says, Bobby, and by the way, anybody who could call me that is now dead. But he said, Bobby, I've got the Ford Pinto trial coming to Winamac, and I've got the New York Times and the Wall Street Journal trying to get a seat in our little 52-seat county courthouse. And I always thought you ought to be a lawyer, and if you would come home to watch James Neal, who was representing Ford, former Watergate prosecutor, he's the best because Ford can afford the best, I'll get you a seat in that courthouse for opening statement. And I went up there, and I came home from Purdue. The old Mike Garrigan, the bailiff, took me up the back stairs, got me in the gallery, and after watching those two go at it in opening statement, and James Neal was just magnificent, I thought, wouldn't it be great to be able to stand up in front of a bunch of strangers and try to convince them to your client's point of view? I just thought that my parents say when I was young, I wanted to go to the dentist's office early just to talk to the strangers in the waiting room. So I was never shy. So I went back to Purdue. I talked to a professor. I took the LSAT, and off to law school I went. So you went from pharmacy to law, and primarily because of Judge Staffelt. Absolutely, because he changed my life.
Absolutely.
He changed a lot of lives. One of the great people I've ever met.
Yeah, he really, really figuratively put his arm around me and pointed me in a different direction. And 40 years later, I'm awfully glad about that.
We're talking with Bob Nice, a 1977 graduate of Winamac High School, here in our Where Are They Now segment. And we'll be back to continue our conversation after this timeout.
Need a game plan that has your day covered from tip-off to the buzzer? Osborne's Mini Mart in Knox has you covered. Whether you like to start out with a caffeinated full-court press or control the tempo with a Subway breakfast flatbread, Osborne's Mini Mart has what you need. Don't get trapped in the corner with an empty stomach. Call a quick timeout and get 2 hot dogs. Visit Osborne's Mini Mart in Knox at the corner of US 35 and Highway 8 East to guarantee you win the day.
Our guest is Bob Nice, a 1977 graduate of Winamac High School. And let me ask you this, Bob. What did you gain from being a high school athlete that has helped you be so successful in life?
Well, I'll tell you what, as much as we all enjoy watching a football or basketball or baseball game on the weekend, athletics are for the participants, not really for the observers. And so one time, Bob March, you referenced, took me out 3.5 miles out in the country in his pickup truck, dropped us off and said, you'd better be back at the high school in 30 minutes. And that's the longest I've ever run in my life. But you know what? You're there. There's no shortcut. You got to run it. You got to get back. And you don't think you can do it, but we did. We made it back. They push you to your limit. You learn what it takes to get just a little bit more. And you don't have to beat the world by 100 yards. Sometimes a couple inches will do. And so the perseverance of knowing what you can do, what you really don't think you can do, and the motto I always had was make it happen. You know, what's it take to make it happen? And I sometimes try to explain it with a basketball analogy that says you've got to have the shooter's confidence. And what that means is if I'm standing there 15 feet away and I got the basketball and you're one step away from me, I look at you and I know that you know that if you come a half step closer to me, I'm going to go right around you for a layup. But if you don't, I can make it from here. Either way, I'm going to score on you today.
Some real lessons in life right there.
Well, that's what it really is what it's all about. And I can tell you one other quick Bob Knight story. I went to Bob Knight's basketball camp in the summer of 72, UD and I. And he would come in and give lectures in the morning and the afternoon. And one afternoon he comes in, you got 100 8th graders sitting on the floor. And he looks down and he says to a young man, he says, stand up, son, what's your name? He said, Joe. All right, Joe, where are you from? Kokomo. All right, Joe from Kokomo. Here's a basketball. I want you to go over and shoot a layup. And Joe went over, pretty as you please, made the layup, came back, started to hand the ball back to Knight, and then Knight just exploded, yelling at his top voice, using words a mother should not hear, telling Joe to go shoot another layup. Well, he was like Ricochet Rabbit. I mean, he was over there, boom, boom, and right back. And as he handed the ball back to Knight, suddenly serenity returned. And the coach said, thank you, Joe. You may sit down. And then he looks out at all of us, and somehow he had a way of looking all 100 of us right in the eye at the same time. And I remember this like it was last month, even though it's 50 years ago. He said, boys, here's the deal. That first layup was at Joe's pace. That second layup was at my pace, and if you want to be a success in basketball or in life, you had better be working at my pace.
Wow, what a lesson for young kids, huh?
Well, it worked on that 8th grader, I can tell you that. I've never forgotten. Frankly, I tell that story to every new employee at my law firm. You know, that's what we all have to do. But he had a way of communicating. It was no nonsense. And it wasn't really mean. It was just intense. Mm-hmm. And it needed to be intense to impress upon the minds of a bunch of 8th graders that if you're going toward the basket to score, you better go like you mean it. And the same thing in life. If you want to go out and be a success, you got to do it every day like you mean it. You can't mail it in.
Bob, finally, what advice would you give to young people today who would like to have the kind of success that you've had?
Well, it's something they're not going to want to hear. And that is, it is all front loaded. everything in life is front-loaded. You don't get to be the head guy the first year. You don't get to live like your parents lived your first year out of school. But you got to prepare, first of all. Abe Lincoln said if I was going to be in a wood chopping contest, in 8 hours, he'd spend 7 hours sharpening the saw. So you've got to really, really put the effort in early in life to learn whatever skill you're going to learn, so you're the best at it. And that means putting in extra time. So put out the effort now, and then you will find it is cumulative, it compounds, and by the time you get to the middle of your career and certainly the end of your career, you are just better than everybody else. And I told my kids growing up, everybody wants to work 40 hours a week. But what if you just worked an extra hour a day? Just say you're watching a little television maybe. An hour is not much out of a 24-hour day. But if you worked one hour a day, it's not a big deal. But at the end of work that week, you work 5 hours extra. And if you do that 50 hours a week or a year, 50 weeks out of the year, that's 250 hours compared to everybody else. How much better can you be than your competitors if you put in an extra? That's over 6 weeks. If you over 6 weeks of practicing your trade or profession, how much better can you be? And if you're better, you're going to earn better, you're going to live better.
Bob, thanks so much for taking time and visiting with us and reminiscing about some pretty exciting days of Winamac High School sports. We appreciate it very much.
Harold, I am confident that my 15 minutes of fame in life were during sectional week in a little town in northern Indiana back when they didn't have class basketball. It didn't get any better.
Our guest on Where Are They Now has been Bob Nice, a 1977 graduate of Winamac High School. Join us again next week on the Saturday Sports Line for Where Are They Now?
Where Are They Now? A look back at more than a half century of high school sports coverage on WKVI has been brought to you by Osborne's Mini Mart in Knox.
Join us each Saturday morning on WKVI for the Saturday Sports Line and worldwide on WKVI.com.
Time now for our Tyler Roth WKVI Athlete of the Week, given in memory of Tyler Roth, a 2001 graduate of Winamac High School who died as a result of an auto accident 1 week after his high school graduation. His legacy of hard work, outstanding citizenship, artistic success, and super athletic performance lives on with this award given every week to outstanding student athletes from the 8 schools in the Kankakee Valley. Today's award is brought to you by Web Printing and JT Shirt Shack in Winamac, and we'll tell you who's earned the Tyler Roth WKVI Athlete of the Week after this word from Web Printing.
Web Printing and JT Shirt Shack and signs of all kinds in Winamac is where all of your printing needs can be met. Whether it's paper, garments, or signs, Web Printing is your full-service printing solution. So if you're in need of embroidered or screen-printed garments, tickets or programs for your event, or documents for your business, Web Printing and JT Shirt Shack is the place to go. For the quickest service, best prices, and best quality, it's Web Printing and JT Shirt Shack in Winamac.
Our Tyler Roth WKVI Athlete of the Week for this week is Jacobie Mills, a member of the cross-country team at West Central High School. Man, what an amazing start for Jacobie for the season. He started at the North White Invite, taking third place overall. But here's the big one. Last week, he was first in the 421 run. That is held there at West Central, and he helped his Trojans win that invite outright. So congratulations to Jacobie. He placed first at his own home meet, and from what head coach Jeremy Glassford has told us, Jacobie has made steady improvements throughout his career to get to this point. So he has put in the work, he has put in the time, he has put in the effort, and he is deserving of our Tyler Roth WKVI Athlete of the Week. Jacobie will receive a certificate, a history of the award, and a t-shirt commemorating his achievement, and will also be a future guest on the Saturday Sports Line. He will be eligible for our Tyler Roth WKVI Athlete of the Year award later this spring, which carries with it a plaque and a college scholarship, compliments of WKVI and the family of Tyler Roth. The Tyler Roth WKVI Athlete of the Week is brought to you in part by Web Printing and JT Shirt Shack in Winamac. I'll make sure to get with Mr. Mills this week As that wraps up another Saturday Sports Line down, third one already to start the 2025-2026 school year. Before you know it, it'll be May. So let's strap up and enjoy the rest of the football season. We've still got a long way to go before then. This coming week, we will see two of our area football teams clash in Culver. The Winamac Warriors take on the Cavs. We will be there for that one. Stay up to speed with the sports checks throughout the week. Follow us on all of our social media sites, on Instagram at WKVI Sports, on X at KVB Sports, and on Facebook at Sports to the Max for all Kankakee Valley Broadcasting sports content. All right, we'll see you next week. Until then, I'm Mitch Columbi. The tradition continues.
From the Pulaski Memorial Hospital studios of Kankakee Valley Broadcasting's WKVI, you've been listening to the Saturday Sports Line with Sports Director Mitch Columbi and Sports Analyst Chris McGowan.